I want to show you some, frankly, pretty shocking images of what we're seeing happening in our state forests in the name of renewable energy. Now, I want to bring in my panel to discuss this. Page Research Centre Chief Executive Gerard Holland and Shadow Environment Minister Jonathan Duniam. Gents, welcome. Let's get your thoughts, though, on these photos, exclusive photos that have been given to me tonight that show the extent of the destruction in our national forests in the name of renewables. Now, this is land cleared for wind turbines on the Great Dividing Range. The person who sent me the images, they want to remain anonymous. I don't blame them, but they're very concerned about our native fauna. We're talking about koalas, gliders and native birds here, of course, including the wedge-tailed eagle. Now, if this was any other project, the environmentalists would be absolutely losing it. Senator Duniam, this is a huge issue, but not one that's being discussed in the campaign. I mean, tonight at the ABC debate, there are protesters for Gaza, you know, pro-Palestinian protesters. But where are the protesters about this degradation of our state forests?
Well, Peter, it's hypocrisy with a capital H. Frankly, I mean, the people that are saying, yes, go ahead and desecrate these vast tracts of wilderness in the name of renewable energy, because, of course, that is the sacred cow here, are the same people who said, no, we will not have a billion-dollar gold mine that will bring 800 jobs to regional Australia and generate all these royalties for health and schools, etc. And the difference is, as you say, it's all about renewable energy. We've got a job ahead of us to make sure people understand what cost is attached to this. It is not a clean energy source, not like they describe. And your images there, and whoever sent them through, very brave of them to do so, that is the truth that we need to get out there, and it's been hidden away for too long by the activists.
And just quickly, Jono, though, when people joined the Greens all those years ago, coming out of Tasmania, where you live, it was a very, very different party. It was a party of the environment. That is not a pro-environment move. And the biggest people championing renewables are the Greens. So people who vote the Greens, who think that they are the party of the koala, they're not.
No, they're not. They've moved a long way from that. They are communists, and they'll find whatever issue it is that they can latch onto to generate donations and membership and headlines. The environment is just a thing they latch onto from time to time, and your photos there just prove that again.
Well, let's go to something that just broken this afternoon. The Fair Work Commission has recommended pay rises of up to 30% for hundreds of thousands of low-paid workers in female-dominated sectors. We're talking here about childcare and aged care. Gerard, what really worries me here is childcare centres, aged care centres, they're all private profit-making businesses. They're not government entities. Yet in the past, under Labor, the government has topped up with taxpayer funds the salaries of these individuals. Now, if you're talking about a 30% pay rise to all of these people in these sectors, that means childcare fees are going to go up, that means aged care is going to go up, but that means the poor old taxpayer is on the hook for tens of billions of dollars, while the people who run these companies and make the profits, they're not paying their workers what the Fair Work Commission says is due. We are.
You're exactly right, Peter. I mean, from the get-go, I think I would reject the Fair Work Commission's findings that these are low-paid sectors because they're female-dominated. I mean, care work is some of the most fundamental work that you can do, especially beginning, end of life. You're talking about the most vulnerable people in our society and should be honourable and dignified. But we've spent decades now and generations sort of demonising care work, particularly in the home, and forcing this kind of work into institutions where we've undervalued it with low-skilled migrant labour. At the same time, we aren't supporting families who want to be at home with their kids. We punish single-earner families who are trying to do things differently. We don't offer any tax incentives to try and help young families out. And so it creates this conveyor belt where parents feel forced to put their kids into institutional care and forced to pay these ever-increasing fees as the system is not able to support the weight of an entire generation now of families who see no other option.
Yeah, and Gerard, if you look after your ageing mum at home, you don't get a pay rise, you don't get paid at all. If you're looking after your own children at home, you don't get $1. You have to put them into unionised care in order for the money to flow. I think that's wrong.
I couldn't agree more. It's a rot, and you know, I've got young kids. We've got a lot of families our age who want to be spending more time at home. They want to be raising their kids themselves, or at least not spending as much time in institutional care as they are. But they feel wedged. The cost of living is too high. They can't afford a house. We've created an economic system and structure which is pushing more people in. And if you look at what Labor is proposing, all of the family support is just funneling more kids into childcare, and it's an entire way of thinking about the system that I think we need to really rethink as a society.
Jono, let's expose what's going on in your state of Tasmania around tassel salmon. I love their products. I'm not paid to say that. I just love their salmon. I love Tasmanian salmon. But the tassel is being bullied by the banks, or sorry, the banks are being bullied by activists not to give business loans to tassel. What's going on here?
Oh, well, this is, I think it might be page 27 of the Green Activist Playbook. You know, go and bully a bank into withdrawing finance from an industry. I mean, the last time we saw this, and you've got the usual suspects, you've got noted fiction author Richard Flanagan, you've got Geoffrey Cousins, who, of course, you might remember, who pulled the very same trick when it came to the pulp mill in Tasmania. He bullied ANZ into withdrawing funding. And then, of course, occasionally they'll rope in a celebrity like C-grade actor Leonardo DiCaprio to tell us how bad the industry is. All of it is the same pattern. It was forestry, it's now salmon, it'll be mining next. This is what they do, and again, I just hope, and there was some evidence out today, I might say, Peter, you're not the only one who likes tassal and Huon and Petuna salmon. Record numbers of amounts of salmon are being sold in Australian supermarkets and being exported, so the Greens' efforts are really all for naught.
So if you want to support the salmon industry and you hate the Greens, be like me and buy the salmon from Tasmania. Hey, just quickly, Harvard, because they're not dancing to the president's tune, because he wants them to reject the woke, they're going to have their funding frozen, Gerard.
Well, with federal funding comes civic responsibility, and America's really been leading the way on this, not just in education, but if you look at their banking system and the way that they operate their pensions, and they say if you're engaging in ESG or activist kind of activities that is punishing certain providers for providing oil or gas or coal or steel or whatever it might be, no more government funds. We're not going to use you anymore. And actually, it's not just our university sector which should be approached this way, but we should be looking at our banks. We should be looking at our super funds and saying all Australians should be treated equally. All industries should be treated equally, especially our primary industries that provide so much value to our economy. And if you're not going to play ball, if you're going to punish citizens and play favourites, then the funding gets cut off. We don't use you anymore.
And if you're going to reduce our freedoms, that's also a problem. Thank you, gents.